It's a very imp introduction. It's a very imp introduction.
Hey guys, what is going on? I am Blue. Welcome to the Weekly Rewind. I'm tripping over my words there. So this is going to be a little bit of a new show. I did do it last week. And what we're going to be doing today is looking over some of the most highlighted games from last week in the esports scene, going over them and taking a deeper look at them, going into their deeper strategies, sort of introducing those of you that were new to Guild Wars into some of the things that we may have missed on the actual cast. We will unfortunately be using the original audio. I tried earlier to practice doing a dry run at this, recasting it, and unfortunately it didn't really come out so well. So we are going to be using the original audio, but after specific events, we're going to be pausing it and taking a look at things. For those of you that may be at the medium level, want to improve your game, this is also a great stream for you, as we're going to be, once again, talking about more advanced tactics. And I am joined today by Helseth.
I'm guessing I'm supposed to introduce myself there or something?
Yeah.
Cool, right. Hi, I'm Helseth, the leader of TCG, formerly Curse, I suppose, and I'm an absolutely wonderful player, and I'll bring insight and I'll correct every single one of the many mistakes Blue will make. So look forward to that for now.
All right. So Helseth will be joining us today, and we're going to be going over the matches. So let's not waste any time, and let's get right into it. Helseth, do you have the thingy ready here?
Yes, I do have the thingy. It's
all right, the video, yes. All right, so this is going to be, once again, this is the Team Sleepy versus Maiden Meta matches from Sunday's MMORPG matches. We're going to be going over the first two. The first one was on Forest. The second one was on Kylo. Or not Kylo, Legacy. I'm an idiot. And we'll be going over those. Yeah, so let's get started. I'm once going to be playing the original audio here. So after certain things happen, we're going to be taking a look at them. You ready, Helseth?
Yes.
All right, 4 minutes, 51 seconds. Here we go. Anyway, we're about to get started here, guys. This is the semifinals. Team Sleepy versus Maiden Meta. The winner of this will be moving on to the finals. This is once again.
My God, you're yelling. It's as if it's some sort of a tournament match. I'm just going to go ahead and mute the sound.
It's annoying. Coming out of this side fully. Looks like they're going to rush the other point, actually. Let's take a look at Cutie's point of view, see where he's going, or she's going, rather. She has laid down a portal here in case they need to evacuate.
Looks like MIM is actually in position to counter this, though. They do have multiple people here to try to get on point. Looks like we do have Ultima on point. He's a very tanky character. Going to be able to hold up for a pretty good amount of time here. But just so you know, MIM is going to free cap mid there, and also obviously ZZ will cap mine.
Yep. So it looks like ZZ's going hard in for this one. Looking at Cutie at the moment, she has just Mo and Ultima, so they're probably going to be hard focusing on Ultima here. We're seeing the Mobilize come out here along with Bleeds. Ultima does go down. Nice focus there by Team Sleepy. They're going to have to try and stomp her now.
They actually got Illusion of Life, so they, again, for those just tuning in, they have 15 seconds to make something happen. If he dies within 15 seconds, he will go down permanently. After 15 seconds and nothing happens, he will go into downstate again. He'll have the opportunity to be res by his team.
Okay, Imnot, rather, NA at the moment. As we see here before, these grenade engines generally can't be in the bulk of the fight. They're going to be running through occasionally, throwing down grenades into the fight to try and do as much AoE damage as they possibly can.
Yeah, it looks like they just let Ultima go there. Didn't really see any team support come out. I think they're a little scared to bunch up there on the AoE.
So Imnot is moving away. Actually, let's exchange point of view here. Looking at Folly, it looks like Team Sleepy is actually going to get this point. Yeah, they are going. All right, so let's pause it real quick. And they are now. All right, so that was definitely an unconventional play. Would you say that? What happened there at the beginning?
It's actually funny. I'm not sure why they did it, but it's the very same play we did when we were up versus Maiden Meta.
Interesting.
And the idea is actually, I don't know if they had the same idea, but we did it because we wanted to hard counter them in the opening. Granted, we failed miserably because we were horrible at the game, but essentially what made him meta always does, well, technically always does, for some reason they didn't do it this game, is that they send a tank Ellie to the enemy far point, always. And if you send 4 to the, if you send 4 to Henge whilst Ultima is on mine, and they also have one on keep, you're gonna have the scenario where mine is 1v1, and we're gonna get Henge for free, because we're 3v4 free on Henge. And after that, there's also a portal. I'm not sure if QT used the portal this way, but if there's a portal on beach, you could also, after you've won Henge, you could port it back towards mine and secure that as fast as possible, and then you secure the 2K. And that's actually what we intended to do. So if it was an idea as a counterplay, you could say that. And if not, it could also just be an idea that they didn't want to fight HDH on keep, which is very annoying.
Yeah. I think they did actually have that portal back on beach, but the fight I think went on for a little bit too long for them to actually utilize it.
Yeah.
So
a problem for Ultima's team is the Guardian. Like the Guardian's quite necessary for team fights when you're running a lot. If you don't have high ground of usage, then you really need the Guardian to be able to support the NG, especially if it's an NG they're not really used to, because this was a pug apparently.
So with this sort of thing now, they have put themselves in a bit of an awkward position. What in general would they need to be doing now to secure it in the for the rest of the match?
Which team were you talking about? Meta or Sleepy?
Sleepy. Now that they've got a bit of an awkward, because they're going to be holding 2 sides points now, but they will not really have control over the midpoint. So in general, how would you be responding to this once you do acquiesce the Henge point?
I hate holding positions like this. I infinitely value mid above holding both side points. Probably what I do in this scenario is that we try to scout what the enemy incoming is, and also then just try to react on what the enemy is doing. If we have the chance, we'd maybe take the bosses, like one of the bosses, probably Chieftain, and then you just try to scout and intercept and just try to survive and bunker the points as much as possible. And you should not do what I think they're doing, is they're also assaulting the 3rd point. I think that's overstretching it. I should be happy that they've gotten their top double cap.
Well, let's start playing it again, and we'll take a look at what they choose to do here. Now it looks like blue team's moving, trying to sort of push back into themselves here, trying to re-rally over keep. We do have 2 Ellies actually moving over to mine here now for teammate and meta. And if any of the viewers ever have any questions here, feel free to ask them.
But we got Shenanigans coming in, trying to get that, trying to prevent it from getting full capped. I think he's going to be able to get there in time. But we do have Phantom coming in from behind as well, so it's going to be a 1v2 versus Shan.
Shan at the moment is fighting. It's going to be fighting 2v1, unfortunately, so he's going to have to hold off for teammates to arrive. Really, he's not going to be able to get any kind of kills, especially with this defensive Ellie build.
Over here at mid, actually looks like Azani focus pulled the Himodi into a Burst Shatter combo, and they've actually they're down 1 player now here at mid.
And Cutie right now is sort of skirting on the outskirts. She actually just got hit pretty hard there by Team MIM, so she's going to sort of on the defensive now, moving back, and it looks like Team Sleep's going to pull out of here now. Yep, Cutie ports back up there, and they're now going to be pulling back towards their own point, getting back. In the meantime, they have killed. Now, pausing it again real quick there, it seems that like you were extraordinarily right there in the fact that they overextended themselves.
I almost am.
As like you said there, they tried to go for mid again, but in the process ended up losing mine there. So you were exactly right. They sort of overextended themselves, it seems, and now they're actually just even themselves out, pretty much. Can you agree with that?
Yeah, the problem, like, you get stomps and then you're like happy and you're like, yes, we managed to win a fight. But 9 times out of 10 you won a fight because you spent your cooldowns before your opponent. Like, that's how it tends to work out. Which means that the next fight they're gonna have their cooldowns, and if you just start stretching for a triple cap, you go to keep and you're gonna have people responding with full health, and they're gonna have all their cooldowns ready, and they're just gonna slap you. And you're also, they needed to cover their mind point earlier. Like, it was pretty obvious that they were gonna win Henge. So I think it was Ultima who went to mid. Oh no, wait, this is the other team. My God. Okay, the Ellie, who is it called?
Shenanigans.
One of the Ellies.
Shenanigans.
Okay, whatever. That Ellie should have just secured mine or scouted beach, either or. Shouldn't have gone for the trip, because an Ellie killing a Guardian on mid 1-on-1 isn't going to happen versus any good Guardian unless Sam was running some sort of horrible spec, which I don't think he was.
Alright, well, let's keep it going. Blue team's boss, so going to be able to get an additional 25 points and a 50-point stat boost to their stats because of that.
And so we do see, looks like we do have ZZZ up right now, about, what is it, 50 points or so? And the Caps are currently tied. Looks like we're contesting mine right now currently. We have Lily on point, the Bunker Guardian, obviously, and he's doing a pretty good job staying alive here, but we do have a pretty even team fight, looks like. Ultima does go down from damage. He's actually gets stomped out. Pardon me, he interrupts the stomp from the missed form, but he's going to go down now once they come back. He's just way too far down.
Yep.
Actually, I take that back. He actually got back up here. I'm not sure where that came from. That must have... My goodness, I have no idea.
Let's look at Folly, actually, because, again, we saw that... No, Folly's on the other side of the map, so that's not it. I was going to say Folly maybe had that sort of, like, ninja res spear there. Oh, and they just took a portal in the middle. Nice play there. ZZZ's going to move in here and sort of surprise attack blue team. Sam is going to have to defend himself against this. He's already popped two of his cooldowns. He might have to pop his Sanctuary as well here. Everything is down. He's now relying entirely on his negation. And it looks like red team's actually going to pop their Sanctuary. They are moving in here to reinforce. Team Sleepy is ahead, though, while MIM does have the cap priorities.
Yeah, Fenrir actually does get stomped out here on point, and a cutie insta-rally from that. But actually does go down here again. It looks like the Illusionary Warlock landed some damage on him as he was trying to bail out of the fight here. But it looks like we have Lily coming in, going to be able to get the res off, no problem. We do see the damage coming out from Azani on the corpse, but actually, oh yeah, he's going to be fine. Should be no problem.
Cutie's still going down here. We're going to see maybe a stomp on Cutie. Cutie's still not up. Lily
Lily get it off.
Yep.
He's going really all in on getting a Cutie up here, but I think Shen's going to be able to get it off.
And
come on, Shen, don't make me liar.
The damage, if
My
not.
goodness, they're all in.
Wow,
Okay. I guess at this point,
Shen goes
huge
down as well.
mistake. Yeah, they were just all in on it.
Now, right there, let's pause it real quick at 9:21. That obviously was a big mistake. Obviously, you can agree to that, right? Right there, what happened there?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, they had a pretty good offensive. It was just, it seemed to sort of start to somewhat fall apart, and then the unfortunate part, I believe Cutie or Shan had gone down first. I didn't catch that quite good, but what do you think? Actually, I might ask Shan this, but I'll ask you as well, House. What could have been the logic behind trying to get him back up?
I mean, people, it's a clutch team fight, and you just try to make it happen. They should have just disengaged, but it's very easy to do a mistake in the heat of the battle, especially during a tournament.
Now, Shan says it was him being stupid.
Yeah, essentially that.
Now, the play itself, where they had taken the portal there, do you agree with that?
Yes and no. I'm not sure if they have Tornado. If they have Tornado and possibly some boon removal, they could have gotten a clutch decap that way. But the way they got it was they ported back and they tried to kill the Guardian. And Sam's a pretty good Guardian, and he was actually able to avoid most of the damage at the start. And then they essentially just wasted their cooldowns on him, and he still had his Sanctuary up, like he was so safe. But they just kept going, and then the enemy team reinforces, and you're like, they reinforced really fast. They must have had a portal too, which was hot. But even if they didn't, like what essentially happened in its season was they wasted their cooldowns on a Guardian, which they didn't down him, and the enemy reinforced very quickly, probably portal. And
yeah, Hans just said it was a portal they came in there with.
Right, well, I guess it was good sides to have a portal on mid then.
Well, anyway, let's keep it rolling. Back over to the video screen.
A Shan down, and
I would have abandoned that a while back, and they really just went all in.
It was just so close. It was like one tick away each time. It's just unfortunate they weren't able to pull that out.
Over here at mine, we just had a Void take down Ultima, so it looks like Team Sleepy is going to be taking back their mine as well here. Folly is still not pausing it, but just turning it down here. They did still get their mine back, regardless. Actually, no, cancel that, because we're just about to see Blue Team come in here for another offensive.
Yeah, if you get stomped, you're not going to get any points, even if it might look like it. People will just slap it.
But in general, as we're sort of just going to keep it playing here, trying to give it some commentary as we're going, while they were in this sort of position now, I just want to ask you, just for teams like this, when they are aggressed this heavily on their close point, do you think it might have been better to have one of their faster characters, possibly like Hemoy on an engineer, going for their side point, like I believe is actually happening now, or do you think it would have still been safer to go for the close point?
I think, I mean, now that they're being stomped and such, left and right, they shouldn't be going for any point. They're just funneling in at the moment, and you're going to see that it'll wind up them losing a lot of points. Like if you just keep going one by one uncoordinated manners like this while you're being already stomped, like you have 2 stomped guys and you're trying to stretch for your second point, then 9 times out of 10 what will happen unless you have like a really bunker setup and you already control the points. What's going to happen is that you just keep going in and the enemy just slowly extends their lead more and more because it's just a good scenario for them. They get to have the points and they get to keep stomping. It can't be bad for them. They should just regroup and come up with something they want to do together.
Regroup and sort of find a foothold that they can extend their reach from there, sort of.
Yeah.
And right now they're just sort of fumbling into mine for the time being. They're not really doing that.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, this scenario can't be bad for Mim. I mean, they can play it badly, but it can't be a bad scenario. Like they're given a good hand, and then it's just all about are they gonna fuck the position up or are they just gonna get to keep extending the lead.
Interestingly enough, though, MIM played this match a little bit differently from what I usually saw on the tournament on Saturday, and I want to know what you would think of this. A lot of teams, once they secured 2 points, like, I mean, they don't technically have 2 points secured right now, because as we're seeing, that there's a fight broiling at Henge, but once they had 2 points, they would sort of, a lot of teams, and I think Sleepy did this a few times, is once they had those 2 points, they didn't want to touch a 3rd point at all. They would just stay safe. So what do you think the logic was going for that extension on the 3rd point? Was it just confidence in the fact that they had been wiping them now, so maybe they could keep a decap going, or...?
It's Ultima's attitude of wanting to be a hero. If he's on a point and it's decap, then he's going to stay there. Doesn't matter if he's 1v5. He will always die doing it, but he will never stop doing it. It's Ultima being Ultima.
Well, in your opinion there, with both of those points being decapped, do you think it would have been better, which I think they actually did pull back now, but in general, would it be better to aggress the 3rd point and try to even out the decap, or just go for your close point and hold the 2 points to be safe and be in a position to defend middle if necessary?
It's always about what the enemy does, like what the enemy has, where they have their resources. For example, in a position where, let's say, there's a glass cannon only holding that enemy point, then you could leave your tanks holding your the nodes that you already have, and you just have your damagers DPSers get the free point. But in a scenario where it's not coordinated, like it was their tank, they should just pull back. There's nothing to win from risking their tanks, because if the tanks go down at the far point and such while they're greeting, then the other nodes will without doubt fall. Like the enemy can just push mid after that, and 3 DPSers will not be able to survive until the tanks have revived.
Yeah.
For example.
So moving on, I currently have the camera pointed at Cutie. In general, let's actually talk about Cutie here for a minute, and we'll see if he yells back at me here in the stream. But in general, what is the strategy here playing like this? I mean, when I left, Mesmers weren't really hanging out in the back like this, but has this become more of the general respected thing now? If you're a Mesmer, should you be trying to do this more, sort of playing the back a little more?
I mean, Mesmer's in essence, Shadow Mesmer is a glass cannon, so
yeah.
You never want to stand in the middle of. If you don't have your cooldowns and you're standing in the middle, then you're stupid. That's simple. but like the whole great sword sit on high ground all game. I mean, I don't play that personally. I see a lot of Mesmers playing it, so I might be the wrong one, but it's a lot of people are using it, and especially the way Cutie uses portals was. Probably an innovation for the Mesmers. Like, it's been there for a while, but I think he employed it very successfully, which is a good thing. But I'm still no fan of a Mesmer standing on high ground spamming auto attack for a while. Like, it's great, you have half of the DPS of a DPS LE, you use this.
Well, I mean, but anyway, talking about sort of countering that sort of thing, because, and again, we are seeing Sleepy here going for back caps again, so we'll talk about that in a second. But if you're going against this sort of Mesmer, is it wise to try to get him down there and focus him as your primary target, or would you be choosing another target if the Mesmer has that sort of position on you?
Suppose it depends on it depends on the composition you have. For example, when we're up versus Paradigm, for example, they have Xeph running that greatsword wussiness where he just sits on the high ground. We just keep surging him. It doesn't matter because greatsword is a rubbish weapon defensively. Like its staff is amazing. It's so good for kiting and defensive capabilities and such. And then you have greatsword, and it's like once you run out of your sword cooldowns and your evades, you're a free kill.
Yeah.
So it's if you have a burst composition, which we do, for example, then we just keep killing the Mesmer. But if you don't, you might want to, like, a Condi setup might just want to pressure the point instead. And have their sword dagger thief pressure the Mesmer.
So just sort of like, if you're, depending on the comp, you either just want to sort of wean them down and then strike when they're low, but if you have more of a bursty comp, yes, you would want to try and focus them.
Yeah. I mean, once he runs out of his cooldowns, he's dead. It doesn't matter his health. We just kill him. 100-0. So.
But this is where the match sort of got crazy. Can you sort of try to articulate on what's going on here? There's just points getting traded back and forth.
Okay. So both of them are playing ridiculously crazy and just going on all points, and people getting stunned. I think there was a lot of chaos. I don't think either team actually had a coherent idea of what they were doing. For example, we have QT now 1v1 versus Sam. We have Sam being horrible and getting the point decapped.
Well, no, he does. There is the Mesmer's there as well. I think Shan's in there as well, helping QT.
Yeah.
But
and so we have a 2-on-2 mid where we have Asani and Sam. Like, this never happens in games from what I can see. Like, we never actually have a Guardian and a Mesmer 2-on-2. Like, if the Guardian needs help bunkering, we could just send on the bunker. And if it's 2 glass cannons, and in this scenario, with a DPS LE would be very good for the 2-on-2 here.
Yeah.
Like, a Guardian and a DPS LE should be able to wreck those two. I think people were just going where they needed to be helped. And it was all about people just trying to clutch out the scenarios they were given. And people not dacing that Spirit Rest because they're bad at the game. But yeah.
And then just reading real quick. Yeah, I'm just reading what Hans was reading what Cutie was saying in chat. Now, in this sort of position where Blue, at least what would have been about a minute ago, where Blue had a predominant lead, what would you, I mean, assuming, of course, you could have gained control over that scenario, where would you have tried to send your team more? Just try to stay close and defensive with your henge and try to extend the lead a little more, or really just try to focus on keeping them off your points? What would have been your thought process going through this?
Do you mean right now, like in the scenario?
Well, like about a minute ago when it was really getting crazy with all 3 points decapped and people were everywhere, would you have said okay, everybody fall back to this point or something like that, or would you sort of just let it go?
I would. There's too much to lose from that. Especially, I would assume, there was a lot of chaos. You can't really. A big problem people tend to do is teams have 2 players try to do one call each, and they're both contradict each other. For example, a Mesmer goes to their close, and he has an Ellie on his close, and he needs the thief to help him, but the thief has already decided on going far. And now the Mesmer is stuck in this 1v1 versus the LA, which, let's say the Mesmer doesn't even have its cooldown, so we can't 1v1 that. And we get the scenario where neither of them can actually get away. Like, the thief is already on far, the Mesmer is already on close. It's probably not worth for the thief to go from far to close without doing anything. I think they've already gotten into the scenario, and they should just play it. And I think both teams played it just about as well as they could here.
Yeah.
There's so much chaos, though, that we've undoubtedly missed so many things. And could someone please kill Chieftain for 100?
I would have liked to hear either of the teams like Ventrilo's at this time. Just imagining.
Probably screaming.
A lot of screaming, a lot of random calls. Like, right now, I could imagine it getting very frantic because Red has the chokehold here, as we're seeing now, or Red sort of has the somewhat of an advantage. I mean, it evens out here again, but now Red's going to be under pressure because they need to get that second cap off. And over here at mine, it's just like insanity. Over here at Henge, everything is on Azani here, and he'll still go down. And now, and then we have this end play here.
Someone went on Swarner, yes, I believe.
Yeah, they're on. They get on a Chieftain now. Swanner had been killed by Red Team, I think, so they managed to catch that back up. But then this knockback right here.
I actually never saw this live. I was just trying to play chess while people were screaming, "Oh my god!" in TeamSpeak, which was very annoying. So, fuck you to both of the teams for interrupting my chess session. But,
but we had that clutch knockback at the end there. And
that was cute.
Oh, who did that actually? I want to. It looked like it came from the NG, I think.
Yeah, the NG.
It looks like it. Yeah, I think it came from the NG. And then they got that kill off, it seems. And yeah, they managed to win that. So, in general, real quick, let's ask the viewers here. Oh, that's the wrong screen. Does anyone have any questions about that match?
I think the whole chaotic second half of it, we probably didn't even go into detail. We were more talking about generalities. So
Well, just in general, if anybody has questions about the match.
Oh, should I pause, by the way? I'm gonna pause.
Yeah, well, we gotta find the next position of the match, so...
Alright.
If anyone from Team Sleep in the audience has comments on the match, they can also make those. And Nuclear Caliber, I'll list them to you after the stream, okay? No. No questions. Nope. Alright, so we're going to take about a 1-minute break here for a commercial, and we're going to find the next position so we can get to the match, or the next match, however, which will be the one preceded directly after this. And yeah, we'll be right back.
I still have bad luck, by the way. I still have bad luck. Just
Okay. Alright, so I gotta find where the next match starts here. Let's see.
it was horrible. Like when you talked when that guy got downed on mid because they were trying to rest and all that stupid stuff. I had just completely spaced out. I was just thinking about rabbits, and then you're like, oh, that was terrible. And I'm like, sure. And I was like rewinding to see what the hell you were talking about.
What?
Oh my god.
Alright, so I got the position. Go to 27:38 is where the next one is.
Alright.
Alright.
27:38.
27:38 is where the next one starts. And then as soon as I think I made the commercial break too long, but as soon as it gets back, we'll start it up.
Sure.
Alright. I think we can try to pause it a little more this time as well. I know the second half of that I barely paused. If you want to weigh in on anything, go to you can go ahead and tell me to pause as well.
Yeah.
I know you're like half asleep right now, but all right. So we are back. We have the second match now. This is going to be the one that preceded directly after this. That was on Legacy of the Foefire. Another very close match. So let's take a look-see here. Wrong.
Look-see.
Look-see, yes, a look-see. All right, here we go.
I'm assuming we started it when you said here.
Yeah.
Looks like blue team is going to send most of their resources over here to Waterfall. Meanwhile, red team's going to, again, this weird.
Now, pause it real quick just so we can see the splits. I want to look at the splits on camera as well, guys, so pay attention. Now, in general, what's the philosophy here with your splits? Because this one is definitely the most varied that I usually see. Like every team runs something different, it seems.
I see both of these rather commonly in tournament play. Ranger capping close because Ranger requires absolutely no skill or brain cells. So even if you get stealth bursted, you're fine. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Shots fired.
Ranger requires minimal brain skill, and so you can survive most stealth bursts and such, and before you need help. And also, Rangers don't actually have much of an impact on a team fight, especially not initially. So you just have them come in later, and it doesn't really hurt anything. And as for what Made in Meta is doing, they're most likely, I'm not sure, but they're most likely just reinforcing their close. They have their tank. I'm not sure why their tank alley also went to their close, most likely because they're silly. But they have their DPSers secure their close point, and then their tanks go to mid. And if anything comes to close, they'll just clean it up. While the tanks can survive mid pretty easily because, that huge point is very easy to bunker. It's almost as easy as Ranger.
I think the philosophy here that sending 2 to Waterfall, or sending 3 to Waterfall rather, might have been because the Sleepy previously in the tournament been doing Shatter Refuge. No, they weren't doing that because they don't have a Thief. Or at least I don't think they had a Thief. So cancel what I just said.
You can do it with the NG and such.
Yeah, so maybe trying to counter that, possibly, but...
This is the safest way you can play. This is how we normally play when we just play in tournament, for example, if we don't know what the enemy's doing.
Yeah.
Because mid isn't gonna die to a stealth burst. It has the least chance of dying to a stealth burst. It's just close you want to secure. If you're doing something else, you're greeding or you're playing Ranger, which Ranger doesn't need to be stealth burst. Scared of it because it's stupid. It's a stupid class. I hate Rangers. Anyway.
Okay. So yeah, let's keep it playing.
Right.
Actually, real quick, pause it again. No, I actually just wanted to comment on this because I'm pretty sure I know the reasoning for this. And I want to know if you agree as well. Sending the Guardian in first with a delayed push from the other two, like Sleepy was doing here, good or bad in your opinion?
Guardian goes in first?
You saw there how they send the Guardian in, and then they send the other two in through the other pathway?
I'm betting that they're might stacking outside. Might stacking or stealth stacking.
I could get them to comment on that, but I thought it was more to like to delay so that they weren't initial targets in the mid fight.
Could be that too, but I mean, chances are they're might stacking. And first of all, you don't want the enemy to get any ticks on the point. Like you can't let them get 50% of the cap because some bullshit can happen. So so you get the Guardian to the points while the others might stacking. Doesn't really matter if the Guardian has mites, or they might be stealth stacking, or they're just standing outside afraid to be ganked, which I wouldn't understand. I'm gonna call it a might stack.
And Cutie's actually saying that it was mainly to avoid ganking, but we'll see.
He's wrong.
Second.
He's wrong. He's might stacking. I know more.
Okay, well let's play it again.
Blue team unfortunately and Team Sleepy's gonna have the initial.
Yeah, it was. There's like
Mo out on Samurai.
12 stacks of might on Hamoi, so
It goes down.
it did look like it was for that, and it looked like it worked too,
No,
because
and he's out.
they got Sam down.
They missed the Mesmer res, unfortunately, and that's going to be on cooldown now as well.
Well,
Excellent
he got
initial
on.
planner by ZZZ.
Not sure why he was tanking a fire grab with burning on. I suppose that's a neo tactic.
Getting him pretty low. He's going to be forced out of this fight.
Right. Well, like, it sucks when this happens. When your Guardian's shitty at the game and just dies mid, you're in such a bad position on this map. Because the Guardian is so good. Like, he can stand on the point so hard. Like, this is retarded. Losing mid on this map is so fucking bad. It's like people are like calling this map the wonderful map where you can make clutch comebacks. It's like, no. It's happening in tournaments because people are bad. Well, we're being bad, all of us. But this is the map where it tends to be like, okay, they got the 2 cap. Let's just go ahead and AFK until the game's over. Esports.
Helseth, so offensive. But I mean, to say the least here, it worked. Like, they got the Guardian out directly there in the middle. I mean, they had, and then they also got the illusion of life wasted as well with that stomp.
Yeah, I can say this, like, if there's any Guardians watching here, they should take note of, you should stand at the edge of your point, like the very entrance of your point, and you'll be much less subject to stealth bursts and bursts like that. Like, that's not going to happen if you're just standing at the edge, because you'll see when the enemies are coming in, rather than people just ticking out of their stealth, which is most likely why you're going to get one shot. I think he just got one shot here because he was horrible at the game and he's scum. But I mean, normally you should only get one shot by stealth, and if you get one shot by stealth, it's because you weren't standing at the edge. And if you were standing at the edge, you're just bad at the game.
Well, all right. I mean, just trying to get observation here. Why do you think this fight's getting turned around now? Let's actually pause it, because it sort of is going not so much in their favor now for Team Sleepy. I mean, I don't know if you can agree or not based on what we're seeing here, but
they're searching for the trip cap instead of just finishing them off. They could have just stuck to mid, because once you get mid, you can do so many things. You can just do a portal play, and like you put a portal on the high ground on mid.
Yeah.
Let's say, could we pause while I describe this, because it's going to take a bit.
Go ahead.
All right. Okay. So
I'll watch.
Imagine if you just put a portal on the high ground on the middle. Let's say, most likely with Cutie always jacks off with his greatsword. You just put a portal there, and then you go from middle to, let's say, and this middle is what's closest to waterfall. It's the closest proximity to there, and you go from there to quarry, and then you just fight quarry. And while the enemy is fighting quarry, you can just port from quarry to waterfall, and they can't really do anything. And if you have tornado along with that, that's like a guaranteed decap. And that's why mid on this map is so stupid, because it's like, hi, we just get to take a double cap whenever we have portal, because we're disgusting that way. And apparently the Guardian got one shot mid because they used Moa, which I guess that's legit, because like even if you're a good Guardian, Moa is just retarded. I guess I thought higher of them. I didn't think they were such scum, but I told you I'd pull your stream into hell by just trash talking everyone. I warned you about this.
They're liking it. I think. But
masochists.
Well, I mean, like the viewers are going up and down. I think everybody's still watching Teldo, but anyway. So yeah, that's his opinion on that. And now that I have it paused in this frame, go over real quick. Folly's strategy here, yes or no, in your opinion, with what he does with the healing spirit? And he did this a few times during the tournament. He hid it behind this pillar here.
Yes and no. I mean, it depends on the situation. If you're like having pressured mid, if you're being pressured mid, you should go for it. I think
because he ran it traded too. Was the thing is that he was running with this trait to extend the range and also trigger it when it dies.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. I think you could also just have it on the high ground, like the bridge, not necessarily on the bridge, but you could have it rather close to mid. And as long as your teammates stand in relative close proximity to it, you should be able to rest from it. And it's also less vulnerable there, but like it's still like a backstab thief or whatever can just port onto it and kill it. Like it's so situational. Like yes and no is all I can say. Like he's probably a better ranger than I. Then again, that doesn't say anything because ranger takes no skill, but still.
Oh my god, you're firing so many shots, dude.
I'm tired and I'm angry. I'm taking it out on them. It's their fault.
You're gonna go to bed right after this, aren't you?
Yes.
Anyway.
Should we start?
Yeah, oh yeah, we started again.
Alright, wonderful. What timer are we on? Because you most likely skipped ahead of me now.
30 minutes, 5 seconds.
Right. Never mind, I skipped ahead of you somehow. That's very logical. Alright, there, I'm with you.
He's the one chasing Moy. Moy has thrown down his elixir, as any good person would do. They will delay the kill because of that.
That was a very nice call. Sometimes in the moment, sometimes you just start spamming buttons and you take them down, and that would really just kind of.
You gotta listen for that sound. Actually, it's like the devs mentioned a lot. It's not about the numbers or the percentages in this game. It's about the
Like, people who play HGH have no dignity. This is so mean to the non-players. You can't rest this way.
You know, even for ZZZ having all those.
I think you can. You just gotta sort of like try to counter CC.
They're actually doing a good job keeping a
Yeah,
neutral.
or just have a rest ability. Or just let you die.
Or kill the HH engine before it kills you.
Over here.
Good luck with it.
I guess that was just probably a decap then, eh?
yeah. They had a DK. I think they're.
Just a note, Grouch just said A in a shoutcast, and he lives in Arizona.
Destroyed by Cutie's burst. He might go
It's
down.
good that you're bringing some insight to the stream now.
I thought that was important to mention.
See Fly taking a hefty amount of damage.
Like, both sides, like the way we play it.
Do you want to pause it?
No, not necessarily. Like my tip, just like if you don't want to be like they're trying to be like cool and alert, like they're defending their clothes and all that stuff. Like, just get mid. Like that's how you win this map essentially. I think they're getting mid now, though.
Well, I mean, Ultimate did a good move here. Sort of a good move. He jumped onto the middle point, and they are gonna get him up. So the fight will continue. But yeah, it does seem like they are focusing on side points a lot here.
The midpoint on this map is worth over 100 points. Like, I'd say it's worth around 150 points. Like, if we can make a deal where you guys get to kill our lord at the start and we get mid, then we'll accept that. but yeah, I guess that's to each to his own. We play a burst composition, so like we gain probably a lot more. We can easily clean up once we've cleaned mid.
Yeah.
Also down up top here, but they do get her up just in time.
And now, yeah. So we're just gonna keep watching here, waiting for some more things to pop up.
Where's he at? There he is. Ultima actually just sort of utilized the fact that Folly was busy and he just jumped over here. Let's see if he's going to be able to. Folly with a nice dodge. He's going to keep down there. Ultima gets a decap. Nice job there by Ultima. That's going to hurt team. That's going to hurt
So a
Team
Beast Monster
Sleepy.
Ranger versus
There-
a Bunk,
no one is
really.
gaining points now.
Like, if I wasn't tired, I wouldn't have helped because I would have just found jealousy from this. Look, I can't even speak anymore because of this. So yeah.
Well, I
Beast
mean,
Monster Ranger.
like you were saying earlier with the whole thing on their side points, they're not paying. It seems like they're definitely paying the price for it. Because now they're 2-capped. They lost mid, and blue team also has their side point. So, oh, you know what?
They're being stomped. So this is they're being downed here and there. So they're most likely pushing Corey. Still, this is just about one of the few maps where it doesn't really matter if you get stomped. Like, you can push for the third point and you can die as long as the tanks don't die. Like, there's a Mesmer who died. Who cares? Like, just keep dying. As long as we can keep the decap and waste our time even more, because the midpoint bunkers can survive a ridiculous amount of time on it. So it doesn't really matter. This is the map where it's the easiest to rotate. Like, you know where all the enemies are very easily. And also, if you manage to extend the lead, when you get to that point where, let's say, you have 350 points and you have 2-cap, you've essentially won the game, theoretically. Because the enemy can't push a point with 4 players, because at that point you can just push Lord. And they have to keep defending it while you just keep having the Lord threat. And there's... Okay, this is interesting tactics where one Mesmer just goes far. I will admit that this seems risky.
Was it? Yeah, it is far from them. I'm stupid. But... yeah, it's... I mean, well, what do you think's the logic going on here as we're watching?
Yeah, could we pause and take a look for a sec?
Yeah, let me pause it now.
The problem with Mesmers going far is like they can't escape. They're not like Ellis. They don't have the. I mean, he has blink, but that's not much at all. Like if something just comes while he's 1v1ing the Mesmer, he's gonna get one shot, which probably means that he did that because either A, because he's bad, or B, because he had a reason to it. And it's probably linked to the fact that people are being stomped left and right on the other points, which I guess it's up to him to respond because I can't really. But he put down the portal. Yeah, that's a waste of a portal. Don't do that. Like one solo decap is not worth portal because portal can do so many amazing plays. Like for example, I guess I can give this as an example. If you're in this scenario on Legacy where you're being 2-capped now, and you just regroup when you're close, and the enemy is just waiting for you to do something. Or even better for you, since the enemy was greeting. So let's just say they were extending and they were getting stomped. So now you have some leeway. You could do a few things. You could try to sneak a portal near Waterfall, for example, and then you attack Graveyard. And while the enemy is distracted, the Graveyard you port back. Like it's not guaranteed, but nothing on Legacy is guaranteed. You just have to try to fix a bad situation. There's nothing to distract the enemy team. Just going Lord doesn't matter if they keep the 2-cap for the entire game. I'm sorry that I interrupted you.
No,
keep
it's
going.
okay. Just sort of like trying to throw paint at the wall and see what sticks, maybe, or
yeah,
pretty much is what you want to do there.
It's Legacy, like
that's the only explanation you could provide to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, so let's get back. And so Cutie said it because Shan came over to help or something. So let's see if he does.
The thing is, the scary thing about splitting with few players on this map is the enemy can just leave 1 or 2 bunkers mid, and they can just direct all of their players to defending their close. So if you send 3 players to our close, we'll send 4, and we'll just have our bunker dealing with a 1v2 mid. And any good bunker can hold its own 1v2, unless it's being mowed by some subhuman creature who uses that disgusting spell that has no counterplay to it. You sad being, learn to play. Anyway. But he's just fighting there.
That didn't really go out too well. Yeah, they have Shan coming in now. It looks like, at least I think it's Shan. Yeah, Shan comes in now, but it looks like they just traded off there.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why they didn't just pick him off.
Cutie was low, so maybe it was more of a safety bank on that. And again, we can have Cutie comment on that, but I think it was more to just trade off and be like, let's switch.
I'm still not sure why they're making poor Asani 1v1. Versus an LA after he's blown all his cooldown versus QT. And now he's actually
I think that was the logic there, maybe, is that the cooldowns were blown already.
You have a very funny definition of what logic is.
Well, anyway, the cooldowns had been blown, so it was more like, let's just get in there and finish him off. And while Shan came in there to sort of hold it safe just in case QT had been bursted.
Yeah, I just found the solution to all of my confusion, and that's that Ultima, like always, is being a greedy goat, so he's going for far. So they're playing for Corey instead of just defending Waterfall. I think this is the map where it's by far the easiest to defend. So they basically when QT came, they should have just sent 3 DPSers, 3 bursters to kill that Mesmer.
Mm-hmm.
And when the Ellie came, they should have just sent everything, and they just keep their bunkers on mid. And you only reinforce those bunkers if they actually need it, and then you otherwise just try to focus the enemy DPSers. And since Qt was actually going to Waterfall, Qt is probably one of the biggest threats to the Guardian and such, because MOA and Shatter removes protection and all that. Since that threat was gone, there's no urgency to mid, so they shouldn't go for far, and they should definitely not leave Waterfall. Now they lost Waterfall because they're stupid. They're just stupid.
But yeah, I mean, it's still a pretty even game so far here, as we're seeing. Neither team really. It's like, I mean, I can ask you why, but why is this sort of going back and forth here? Is it again just because it's faux fire and people really?
But back and forth and faux fire does never work together. That's a paradox.
Well,
there.
I mean, look at the score. Then the points have been the side points have been traded off at least twice now, I think.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They keep trading the side points. That's why it's he's even mentioning like both teams are playing off the side nodes, and it's more chaotic that way. Like you're leaving it up to a lot of more factors rather than just playing the safe way.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why it's going back and forth is simply because meta is not playing the safe way. They could play way more safe with this, and there's no real risks in this. Yeah. Now they're actually giving their enemy chances to play. Like for example, here you can look at waterfall right now. I'm gonna pause for the sake of pausing, and you can see
hold on.
that there's
I'm not at waterfall yet. Where are you at?
no. I'm looking at minimap because I have game
Oh.
awareness. Lord, Lord. Anyway.
Listen, man.
Anyway. But here you can see that like there's one Mesmer on waterfall, and there's a Mesmer duel on waterfall. So Phantom goes to mid because he secretly wants MAM to lose. What he could do in reality is just go to waterfall and kill Cutie 2v1. Because the Greatsword Mesmer isn't gonna do shit versus the DPS LE and Shadow Mesmer 2v1. They'll just spank him. It's just a free kill. He's being a hero, but he's being a foolish hero. Like that guy who took a dragon and did something with it. Yeah.
Someone in the chat asked a couple seconds back why Himodi followed Shan there. Cutie's commenting on it now. He says that more than likely Himodi did not want to get ganked, and that he had a portal up, or that someone had a portal up if the Ellie came. So, just to answer that question for you. And yeah.
That's still crazy or risky, and there's no benefit to it though, because like you're up 1v1 versus a Mesmer. The Ellie can just come in, burst you down, and if the Mesmer is smart, he could just focus pull you after you portal, and then you can burst. Which means that you theoretically have to have your distortion up if you want to do this, because you want to portal and then distort and then port out, and that means you're trying to 1v1 a Mesmer in a scenario which you don't want to use distortion. It's not tactic. You're just hoping for luck essentially. It's again what I mentioned before. You set yourself in a position where the enemy, it's all up to the enemy. A lot of players do this where they get into a position where it's all up about what the enemy does, and if the enemy fucks up, they're fine. And it's not a good position, in my opinion, theoretically. For tournament play, and I mean, they have to do something. I mean, I can criticize it as much as I want, but in the end, he has to do something, and he's doing something, and it's actually working for him. So you can't really criticize it. I can only say what I think the theoretical perspective of it is. But in a tournament scenario, you have to do something, you have to make a play. You're a fag who uses MOA, so you're just doing something.
Yeah, I see what you're saying there. So let's keep it going.
Cool.
And now I want to ask you, because we are going to see this happen in a minute here. Both teams are going to go through for the Lord here. It's been getting more and more common.
Yeah, I don't know
like
why.
prior, well, I have a theory, and I want to know if you agree or disagree. As we're sort of just talking over this here, but. Is it because teams are sort of panicking more because there's more stakes on the line?
Absolutely.
And that could just justify why we are starting to see more Lord rushes now? Because, I mean, like, prior to the April 30th patch where Spectator was in, you almost never had Lord rushes. Like, you'd get maybe, like, one or two a week at most.
Yeah, like, the way people tend to kill Lord when it actually happens is they have an ugly ranger who capped your close. He uses his pet to open your door, and then you just solos it. But yeah, rangers are disgusting. Just in case you didn't know.
You have a real bias against rangers, don't you?
Yes. All right, I'm gonna pause because I lost my trail of thought. But you're asking about Lord, and here's the deal. If I may go off to another game, I'm not even sure if you know the game, but the Super Smash Brothers have a character. Sure, I have a logic in this. I have a logic.
Which one?
Let's say Melee, or
Okay.
Brawl, whatever, which of you. Brawl if you're a retard.
Oh,
Anyway.
okay, well, I'm a retard then.
And there's a character called Ice Climbers, and if you look at competitive play, Ice Climbers has a grab where they can infinite their grab. They can essentially, if they grab you once, they can kill you.
Yeah.
Like that's how they work. They're disgusting that way. And but if you look at the tournament results, you will see that in most clutch scenarios where both of the players have one life left, the one who hits harder, which is, let's say, Ice Climbers, because they just need one hit, they tend to almost always win. Because when you're in the scenario where you're so close, that's when it's so easy to screw up, and that's when what hits harder will almost always succeed.
Yeah.
Because people are just screwing up, and then the one who just hits, just wins. Like, both are hitting each other, but the one who hits harder wins. And that's what's happening with the Lord. Like, people are just like, go Lord, and it just turns out to work because the other people are just being equally retarded.
Because it hits harder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except Ice Climbers is banned from like 9 out of 10 competitive tournaments. So your point, as invalid. You know that Ice Climbers is banned from like 9 out of 10 Brawl tournaments, right?
Well, sure, but probably stupid. I don't care about it. Wobbles for the win.
Anyway, so is that all you had to say on that? Yes, assuming. See, senor?
Yeah. Let's go. Sorry.
Okay, let's go.
Started seeing camels in my vision
Okay,
again.
so now I actually asked Folly what was going on here. I had questioned a ranger's
Oh,
ability.
would you look at that? There's a ranger soloing lord.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you are
Well-
talented. You are skilled. Look at that soldier.
At first I questioned it because I didn't think that Ranger could do enough damage to do this, but it turns out according to Folly at least, it turns out I was completely wrong, and that he could actually burst it down in about 30. He said he screwed up his rotation on this one, but
30 seconds.
yeah, you can kill in about 30 seconds, which I did not know
you,
that.
You don't even need to give a damn about the lord. Like, it's so disgusting. You can go there, you just go into the guild lord, you ignore the lord, you ignore the guards. You're like, no, they can keep attacking me because I'm a disgusting ranger. And you just keep attacking the lord, and you will solo the lord in 30 seconds while all the poor soldiers are crying, trying to protect their master. It's so disgusting. Like, it should be illegal.
Well, yeah, they just I just sorry to cut you off there. But they just had that play there. Everybody knows that was again that Lord Rush. Let's go back just a little bit here. I want to take a look at the map position when they initially engaged. Let me find a marker here for you. Let me see. Let's go to like 3907 because the map's open anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cutie told me that their Lord was like at 5%, so that was like really close. Assuming that Folly had not messed up the rotation like he told me, then Sleepy probably would have won that with the solo Lord kill.
Yeah. Again, it's up to the clutch,
Now-
and 4 players hit harder than
Yeah.
1 player. So.
No, but real quick, like how? And again, if you don't know this, that's fine. But yeah, I'm assuming you do because you're an all-knowing, civilized gentleman. Now, how would you be able to detect that sort of thing if you're like, if it's being played against you, like a solo ranger going for the Lord? Would you just
Okay.
have to sort of have the intuition, be like, hey, where's the ranger? Or
No, this is how it almost always happens. I mean, we faced the lovely pleasure of facing Paradigm when they do this, and they're like, they get Symbolic to their close, and it's like capping their close, and they're like, okay, Symbolic, fuck going mid, just go far. And that's essentially what he does. He doesn't even play the game, he just goes to far. And then he's standing on the point, and he wins any 1v1 because he's a disgusting, filthy ranger. So he just stands there, he gets the point, or even if they cap it by more conventional means, they eventually swap the spot, and they have the ranger on the far point. And what the ranger can do, because it's disgusting, is that it can cover the point and send the pet to the gate and kill the gate.
Yeah.
Which means so you have this annoying scenario where you don't want to actually send your DPSers to the ranger because he's the one who will survive the most. Like if you have an option A, go to Quarry, which is the enemy far point where they have a mesmer, and then you have option B where there's an annoying, disgusting tank ranger who I'm going to track down in real life. Then you have these options. You're going to go for the mesmer because he can actually die, and that's how people most often do it. So it's this thing. Ranger is just very strong on this map, and how do you deal with it? Ranger is not amazing in mid fights. Like if you fight the mid straight up, especially the Ranger is one of their tanks. Like most builds run 2 tanks. That's how most setups run.
Yeah.
You can even look at you have a Guardian and you have a tank, and okay, they might even have a tank elite, but then they're filthy. But let's pretend they don't. In this case, you can win mid quite fast, and then you can rush close, and you just make sure you get the 2 cap. They're doing a risk play where they're leaving one of the players out to get this advantage, and if their players manage to survive the 4 and 5, then they kind of deserve having that ranger advantage.
yeah.
So how do you deal with it? And I mean, you know that the ranger's gonna go for your close. There's nothing about it. But you port back your Guardian or whatever so you can keep the point, meaning there's less incentive for the ranger to stay there. Or you B just 5-on-4 mid, and you just win that midpoint 4 and 5, and then you send all of your players to just make that ranger hate life. And then when you get the 2 cap, you protect it for as long as you can. And I mean, if you just keep the 2 cap for the entire game, Lord isn't a threat.
All right. So in general, it's just more not about responding to the immediate action, but in general, just trying to outplay the Rangers on the previous parts of the game is generally what you want to try to go for with that strategy.
Yeah, I mean, they're accept 5, so just accept the 4 and 5 and do it better.
Yeah. Well, all right. It's respectable enough. And now, back to what I wanted to talk about before. Go back over to the video here. Now, I wish Beta Meta was here to comment on this, but what we did see here, and I want to know if you think this was on purpose or much, they picked an excellent time to portal in terms of positioning of blue team or of red team rather. Can you agree on that? And I think this is like one of the most crucial parts to if your Lord kill is going to be successful or not.
My God, there's lightning.
Oh my God, man.
Yeah, I think the Rangers are off to me. All right. Well, I'm pretty sure. I'm willing to bet that they didn't actually have a concise timing with they scouted the enemy. It must have been. They probably panicked it, and it just wound up working well for them.
Yeah.
They killed the Lord quite fast.
But I mean, let's talk about it for a second. Because this is important. With rushing the Lord, in your opinion, do you think the positioning of the enemy team is important, or
definitely?
Yeah, because we're seeing right here, red team really, and again, it did cool out for them. Red team was really not in a good position to defend it, and at the same time, they really weren't in a good position to counter Lord Rush either. So, in your opinion, when is the best time to do one of these portal plays, or just in general rush the Lord?
In my opinion, the best way to go for Lord is not doing it in these panic-sense ways that people do. I mean, in this, I would have done the same in this scenario. Like, we would have just tried to get Lord. But I mean, in a real game, if you're just doing a game, at what time do you actually want to go for Lord? Most people just have, like, they just do it when they have to. But you could just make sure, like, if you have the 2 cap, you should just make your priority. If everything's safe, when you have the 2 cap, make your priority to open the door. And then the second you hit 350 points, the enemy can only win the game by actually getting to 350 points themselves, so they can Lord, or even by getting a 2 cap. In order to get a 2 cap, you, without doubt, have to spend 4 players. And most likely, it's not going to be to mid, it's going to be to your close point. So, let's say that Melee Meta kept a 2 cap for the entire game and opened the door. The ideal time to just go Lord would be when Sleepy would just send 4 players to, let's say, Waterfall, which would be their close in that case. Like, that's when you actually want to do it.
Well, I kind of want to disagree with you there. And don't get mad at me. Calm down. But I do play Ranger, but calm down. Sometimes.
Wow.
But sometimes. I switch to Warrior mainly. No, don't leave, please. I need you. But, I mean, if you think about it, if they're at Waterfall and you decide to rush Lord, and again, if they don't know it's happening, then yes, you are correct. But more than likely, they would have someone back. They wouldn't have 5 players, Farpoint, so they would still know it's happening. So
4 players is what the scenario I gave.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can have 3 players. Like, the Lord is ridiculously weak. I'm pretty sure it'll get changed in the future. I don't know when, but it will. And a lot of people will complain about it. Like, the Lord is really weak. If you take 4 players, like, again, I've mentioned that we run burst comp, so it might be different from my point of view. But we kill the Lord in 5 seconds, like at a late time. If we're slow, it's 5 seconds. Even if there's 4 players on us, we can do that.
Yeah, of course.
So I mean, ideally, like if you have 350 points and 2 cap and the door's open, then you should be able to get the Lord very easily as long as you keep your heads clear. You just pay attention to where the enemy's heading, and then you just, when you know, okay, they're heading towards our close, they're going to be way too late to get to Lord. Let's portal to the Lord. Pew pew.
Well, I mean, the point I was trying to make there is that if they were at Waterfall, and again, if you have portal available, then the thing I'm about to suggest would be better.
Yeah.
But if you don't have portal available, what you're suggesting would probably be the better scenario. But the thing is more than likely someone is going to find out that you are going for the Lord. It's like pretty much a 0% chance that you're going to kill Lord without them realizing it. Because, where's everybody on the map at? And yeah. But if everyone's at Waterfall, I think it may not be in your best interest because they can counter rush the Lord. And if they have better DPS, they could kill it faster than you if they respond quickly.
That's why I mentioned the ideal scenario would be if you had 2 cap to the point where they can't actually. You asked what the perfect scenario to Lord would be, and I said if they can't counter Lord, and then you just get the 2 cap, and then you wait till they're out your close.
Yeah.
And if they don't have 350 points, they can't counter Lord, they can't defend their Lord. That's what I meant.
And
I mean, if they have 350 points, then that's different.
And now in general though, but like looking at this scenario, should Sleepy right now what we're looking at on the map where there's a Mesmer at the gate, should that just instantly pop up as an "oh shit, we should fall back" thing?
It should probably be more about an "oh shit, kill the Mesmer" thing, because falling back 9 times out of 10 isn't actually gonna be enough. Like, even if you're there, we've had so many scenarios where players are like 2 steps behind us, but and they're coming with like 4, and that's still not enough because the Lord is so weak. Like, he has this ridiculously obvious animation where he raises his sword to the sky and starts, like, posing before he heals, and it's like anyone can daze that, and
Yeah.
then he's dead. So
unless of course you've been CC'd by the other team.
yeah, or you play a ranger, then you'd be unable to have the skill to CC. But again, like
Anyway, but yeah. So I mean,
kill the mesmer. Don't let him portal. That's your
Yeah.
solution.
That's your solution. But anyway, I think in general, if you do have a portal available, I think it'd be better when your team is at mid, or when the enemy team's at mid, because then they can't really fall back, but at the same time they can't counter push it either, so they're really helpless. That was just something I wanted to put in there. But when you don't have a portal, it seems that you want the team at waterfall when you rush, so that they're as far away from you as possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so let's watch the rest of the match.
It just didn't really work last time. We do also
Oh,
have
right.
over here as well.
I
It
forgot.
looks like
I need to press the button.
No, portal play. Look, we're seeing it now. I'm not. They're moving in now for the Red Lord. Nice ring of warning. It's going to stop
But
them
yeah,
from moving
like,
in there for a couple seconds. ZZZ Lily is going to try to hold them back.
Oh yeah,
But
this was
nonetheless,
unfortunately
front line
not
members
the
of-
game where
of
you
Team
guys
MIM are
failed
bringing it now for
the
this Lord
Guild
play.
Lord
Team
camera.
Red
That was
is
very
not
impressive
ready for this
casting, by the way.
but it's really not
Don't,
really in their
please let me
favor.
live that down.
Lower than half HP right now.
It's actually bugged right now, so we're always gonna miss it because you can't actually see the Lord's health now in the current spectator mode. I really hope they fix that.
Looks like yes.
But yeah, anyway, that's all kind of off topic.
Blue team gets it.
Um,
MIM with the
but
successful Lord
yeah,
kill.
so it really just came down there to
ZZZ is very angry.
MIM's sort of like oh shit reaction to a Folly pushing Lord, and unfortunately Folly screwed up his combination there, and they came out on top because they had the better burst on the Lord itself.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, essentially, just summing up the game was MIM got the 2-cap and they got the advantage, and they got massively outplayed enough for them to lose mid on Legacy, actually to lose the lead on Legacy. That's ridiculous.
Mhm.
But PvE saved them, so I mean, that's great.
Oh.
That's esports.
All right, well, I think that about wraps it up, actually. Those were the two matches we were looking to cover. Does anybody have questions about that match? Or the one preceding
God.
it? What?
I'm so tired. All right, I mean, okay, yeah,
You're almost good to go, man.
amazing.
We're just going to do a really long sign-off so you don't get to leave yet.
Next time, get some with Hoffman. I just... No, what? How dare you?
Sorry about that. But yeah. Anyone else have any questions? No?
All right, I have a question. Why does Teldo still have more viewers than you?
'Cause-
Well, than me, than I've ever had in my life. I'm gonna cry.
Because Teldo is the godchild of Guild Wars.
He's a chipmunk. Anyway,
Oh my, I'm gonna get so much hate from today, man, because of you.
okay, I guess I'll make something official about that. My opinion are my own. Granted, today I didn't actually get to show my opinion because Blue forced me to say everything. I'm reading off a script right now, so keep that in mind if you have any complaints for the future. I do apologize for my rather lack of eloquence in my speaking at the moment. I'm very ridiculously tired. I've been up for 27 hours, and what the hell are you doing, Blue? You're almost
I'm denying
refusing
you.
the script.
I'm denying you.
Right. Well, it was fun doing this with you, Blue, and
Well, yeah, thanks for coming on.
if I do it another time with you, I'll make sure to actually be mentally stable at the time and not having. Yeah.
But
right.
yeah, so that's about it, guys. Thanks for those of you who tuned in for tuning in itself. We'll be back next week with some more games. Hopefully, we'll get some of the good games from the upcoming Curse tournament this weekend. We'll be going over those again. Don't forget, and we're getting to the point where I'm selfishly plugging things, so you can leave now.